Top 5 potential rogue decks post Magnificent Mavens early November 2022 here, and man, oh man, I love when the metagame just lines up beautifully for us. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Number 1 on our list here is going to be Sky Striker. You know, Sky Striker started off super high on like everybody's tier list when, you know, you saw Engage come back, and then, oh my gosh, you know, Mystic Mine won a YCS. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players weren't playing the outs. It was a fantastic time. And then something happened with Darkwing Blast, something that a lot of people might not have realized. These new Bysteel monsters touched down into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And have changed the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. And I think it's hilarious at the end of the day that players haven't fully, I guess, seen or understand that these cards mess up Sky Striker's day, because guess what? Ray is a dark. Rose, or actually, both of them are interchangeable attributes because light and dark. So both the Bysteel, all the Bysteel monsters get to pop them off. Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, that ensures that Sky Striker won't be relevant, right, Robbie? Yes and no. Linkage now exists as a card, which basically allows this deck to kind of get some extra OTK gas. Now, how well this deck has and will be seen has yet to be seen, and I say that because the loss of Halgi Fibrax definitely sent this deck back to the Stone Age really hard. I mean, you still have Mystic Mine in order to kind of do your things, but those Bysteel cards being top metagame contenders here really shows a lot of pressure that is to come here. So, full disclaimer here, I think Sky Striker with linkage is better. The problem is the rest of the metagame evolved with some of the strongest anti-meta cards that you could ever have against light and dark strategies. So, do with that what you will, but I do think the deck has potential, at least with linkage a little bit. Next up here is Labyrinth. We finally have the best card for Labyrinth. The additional lady support that we needed for this deck. Oh, wait, what's that? We get another one in Photon Hypernova that also will trigger off a field spell? Yeah. We'll talk about that later, all right? Here's where I'm sitting right now with Labyrinth. I love trap-based decks. I still don't think that this deck is better than Eldritch. The big reason why I say that is Eldritch, you know, is still Eldritch at the end of the day. I mean, how many engines can you combine Eldritch with to have success at the end of the day? The answer is infinitely more than Labyrinth. But the thing with Labyrinth is you basically have this shiny new toy. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are looking at this and they're like, oh no, like, What can we do with this? You know, another extension option for the deck was great. Sure, I'll take it. But the problem is it's still a trap deck. Your top end of the format is like, oh, let me just, oh, I just milled half my deck turn one. Oh, you just lost half of your deck too. You know, and then you're like, Yu-Gi-Oh's fun, right, guys? That's kind of what you're looking at here. So, a trap-based deck, I mean, Torrential Tribute's a good card to clean up problems. Problem is, you know, the best deck in the room wants to be destroyed by card effects, so you got to ask yourself, is this really worth it at the end of the day? And my problem, I guess, remains at this. This deck is pretty cool. 100%, it's got probably some of the coolest useful utility cards in the current game. The problem is I guess players don't know what they're doing with it, or, you know, we need the other trap card from Photon Hypernova for this deck to kind of pick up. But I think in terms of the potential department, it's definitely got something going for it. I think that's what makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, get the chance to shine when you get these cool potential decks. Next up here is Sword Soul. Oh, straight off of the reprint block. Now, this means that every single person in the room can now play Sword Soul, right? Baron DeFloor still paywalled behind $80 plus price tag. So now you got to ask yourself at this point, is it worth it? In terms of the deck being budget, we've seen Sword Soul show up as kind of a rogue contender for quite some time. And I think that's a good thing. You know, when you can see how strong, you know, Sword Soul has kind of hung on at the end of the day as this top contender that, you know, players constantly look at and go, hey, you know, like, this is it. And especially when you saw the core up for pre-sale for like $30 at the end of the day. You just got to kind of build the rest of the extra deck, put some hand traps into it. Budget options become a lot better. Problem is, once again, the rest of your top end format. The good news is, this is a deck that can play Dimension Shifter like the rest of the cool kids at the table. You know, Flunder, Sprite, you know, Exosister. Is it quite as, you know, powerful in this deck? I mean, you kind of lose some access to your graveyard. Tie doesn't look that enticing at the end of the day, but you are a deck that can do it, all right? And that's very important to understand. All right, when you can do the same anti-meta shenanigans that the rest of the format is known for, or, you know, needs to be known for at this point in time, I will say that I do have hope for Sword Soul still holding on. Is it a top 10er? I don't think so. You're kind of starting to get into the hazy department with this deck. It's like, yeah, it can still do the same combos that it did, but like, by stretching the imagination, I still call the deck too fair at the end of the day. So hopefully I want to be proven wrong on that, but I'm putting it in the potential category for this video just because of that. Next up is Black Wings. I'm still continuously told over and over and over again that, you know, Black Wings, it's a cool combo deck, has so much potential. I've seen a couple spreadsheets being sold to some of the combo lines. How much of an overall potential does this deck actually really have, you know, post the Ishizu stuff? I think the deck genuinely gets worse. Once again, when your top end heavy deck goes, you know, let's go ahead and, you know, mill off a majority of the resources here within the format. That's kind of our issue here at the end of the day. So I'll have to wait and see. I genuinely hope that we will see some sort of possibility for this deck to actually work, but it's definitely, I don't know, man. Black Wings seems like such a cool combo deck. The lines of play that it has are awesome, all right? But it's just how good can having to go through the same combo lines every game. It reminds me of DDD when DDD first came out. The problem with DDD was, you know, you needed like, what, an 800 IQ brain in order to step through those things. That's why you saw all those spreadsheets kind of circulating around where you had like these 200 videos. It was like, all right, step A/45 /coffin 2. And while it was really cool to see those particular things here, I still see it as like the same thing here. You know, you're going to need a spreadsheet in order to kind of keep up with just the different lines of play with this. So hopefully, Black Wings will get the chance to shine a little bit here. I definitely want to see something come out of this deck because it just honestly seems like such a cool strategy at the end of the day. And then the last big one I want to talk about here is actually Witchcrafter. I honestly thought about mentioning the power of the new, you know, solitaire stuff, where you get it was the new Shiranui card that you basically get the trap card to blow your opponent out for a turn. But I think Witchcrafter is a deck. I've played against Witchcrafter a couple of times for what the deck can do, and it is pretty cool. Basically, you need a couple turns in an Ishizu format. You need like a decent turn in order to kind of get your resources netted back, because Witchcrafters were kind of victim to the fair card design, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I will say that the way that the deck itself works, if you get 2 turns to kind of set up, you make this pretty big board. Also, Witchcrafter can do a lot of digging into their deck. I think from what I've seen, especially like with the Spellbook of Judgment build, this deck is actually pretty scary. The Spellbook package coming back actually did help out Witchcrafter quite a lot. Who would have guessed? Spellcaster deck getting Spellcaster support at the end of the day. Yeah, it actually is pretty cool. I'm definitely putting it on the potential list because from what I've seen for this deck, it is a lot of fun, all right? And yeah, fun and Yu-Gi-Oh! Can run together at the end of the day. If you play against something like Sword Soul or Black Wings, I think you have a decent chance. The other thing is you're going to need to know what you're doing with this deck, because this deck actually has a pretty decent ceiling going about it at the end of the day. So just my 2 cents here. So what do you guys think about the potential for the format? Please leave a comment about what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.